What's up? What's up? Back at it once again. It's Sikorsky of Fundings, kicking it for you and for yours. And right now, I'd like to give a shout out to my ancestors who made this all possible. And also, I'd like to give a shout out to you. I ain't done this in a minute, you know what I'm saying? Just to get back into just for a hot second, you know. Channel's over 1,000 subscribers. That's what's up. So, you know what I'm saying? Can't complain about that. Things is looking good, doing great on that too. So, you know, even though I stopped for a while, about a good 2-3 months, you know, because of situations, just glad the stuff is still popping on. My stuff is still going. Now, this one right here is the Arkansas Race Riot. You know, this is done by the wonderful Queen Ida B. Wells-Barnett, you know, and this is her report on the Arkansas Race Riot, you know. And the Queen gives a really good point of view from her, you know what I'm saying, from what she wrote and how she went down there and talked to the people and to see what happened, you know. Anything that really happens with you'll notice kind of a pattern that kind of sticks out today, that, you know, they're all communists and da-da-da-da-da, this, that, and the third, you know, same old type of pattern that sticks out. But that still comes out today. And some of the other tropes that, you know, that still gets in the stereotypes that still kind of get played. Now, I'm not really down with the Black Lives Matter movement per se, but I understand the same old racist tropes that comes out. I agree with the slogan all day, Black Lives Matter, but I'm not great with the organization and the foundation of the organization. This right here, you see a picture of 12 men committed to die by the court, you know, for their participation in the race riots that we're about to read about. The Elaine Race Riot. The press dispatch of October 1st, 1919, heralded news of another race riot had taken place the night before in Elaine, Arkansas, and that was started by Negroes who had killed some white officers in an altercation. Later on, the country was told that the white people of Phillips County had risen against the Negroes who started this riot and had killed many of them, and that this orgy of bloodshed was not stopped until the United States soldiers from Camp Pike had been sent to the scene of the trouble. Columns were being printed telling of an organization among the Negro farmers in this little burg who banded together for the purpose of killing all white people. The organization being known as the Farmers Household Union. As a result of these charges, over 100 Negro farmers, labor, men, and women were arrested and jailed in Helena, Arkansas, the county seat of Phillips County. 1 month later, they were indicted and tried for murder in the first degree, and the jury found them guilty after 6 minutes of deliberation. 12 were sentenced to die in the electric chair, 6 on December 27th, and 6 on January 2nd. 75 of them were sent to the penitentiary on sentences ranging from 5 to 21 years. Several national bodies among the colored people, notably the Equal Rights League. I'm gonna take a sidebar right quick. I'm gonna have a video on the Equal Rights League. I'm gonna do it after this to go hand in hand with this video, because many people don't understand how things came to be and how things came about. We're gonna talk about the Equal Rights League, which is not really discussed that much in the Black community. Let's continue going. Sent letters to protest to the Governor Borough, but the press dispatches report that the governor refused to interfere because he believed the man received justice. Upon the Chicago branch of the Equal Rights League sent telegrams to Senator Mills, McCormick, and Curtis, chairman of the Committee on Race Riots, and Congressman Martin D. Batten, asking the federal government to take some action to protect these men and see that they got justice. The People Movement Chicago, Illinois on December 7 unanimously passed the following resolution offered by the writer and sent to Governor Borough, where the press dispatched to bring the news that 12 Negroes have been condemned in Helena, Arkansas to die in the electric chair for allegedly killing 5 white men after the deliberation of 8 minutes by a jury, which found them guilty. And whereas it would appear that this race riot rose over determination of those Negroes to form a union for protection of their cotton crop. Therefore, be it resolved that we demand that Governor Borough that he exert his influence to see that those men are given a new trial or a chance to present their case to the Supreme Court. Hundreds of Negroes have left Arkansas because of unjust treatment, and we pledge ourselves to use our influence to bring thousands away if those 12 men die in their electric chair. Arkansas needs our labor, but we will never rest till every Negro leaves the state until those men are given justice. Very soon thereafter, the governor of Arkansas called a conference of white and colored citizens in Little Rock, Arkansas. He learned from them that his own colored people was dissatisfied and wanted these men to have a chance in the Supreme Court. He promised to exert his influence to secure this and appoint an interracial committee adjunct to matter of affairs between the races. The Chicago Defender of the same week, December 13th, contained a letter of appeal by the writer to colored people throughout the country to raise funds to help these condemned men carry their case to the Arkansas Supreme Court and also to the United States Supreme Court if necessary. Almost immediately, a found appearance of donations were received by the writer from our people, and the tone of the letters was split and expressed a determination to help these poor men get justice. Other organizations to help were formed, lawyers were engaged, a stay of execution granted, and proceedings began to appeal to the Arkansas Supreme Court. 6 of the men have been sentenced to be electrocuted December 27 and 6 on January 2nd. During that time, the following letter was received by the author of this pamphlet. Little Rock, Arkansas, December 30th, 1919. Dear Mrs. Wells-Barnett, this is one of the 12 men which is sentenced to death speaking to you on this day, thanking you for the great speech you made throughout the country in Chicago Defender paper. I am also thanking you for the very highest, and hope that you can do for all for the colored race, because we are innocent men. We were not handled with justice at all in Phillips County Court. It is prejudice white people has an agenda, we Negroes. So I thank God that though you or our Negro are looking into their trouble, and thank the city of Chicago for what they did starting things and hoping to hear from y'all soon. Now, Mrs. Wells, if you have any mail for us, send it to where there could be any secret in it. So I want to close much love for all to Chicago, Illinois. Please pray for us. I am a Christian man. Please, Chicago, let us hear from you at any time. In response to this cry from Macedonia, the writer took a train to Little Rock, Arkansas, and went to the address given in a letter and talked with some of the wives of the 12. Then went to the penitentiary and spent a day interviewing those men. I wish every one of those contributions enabled me to make these investigations could have been seen a light which came on their faces of these men when I told them who I was. Again, they sent thanks to everyone who had responded to my defender letter of December 13th, 1919. They had been in prison in Helena, Arkansas since the first week of October, and they had been beaten many times and left for dead while there, given electric shocks, suffocated with drugs, and stuffed with every cruelty and torment of the hands of their jailers to make them confess a conspiracy to kill white people. Sidebar, that really doesn't change much in jail. They do the same thing here, and they do the same thing. I can show them prove that. Back to it. Besides this, a mob from the outside tried to lynch them. During all the 2 months of the terrible treatment and the facade trial, no word of help had come from their own people until a copy of the Chicago Defender, December 13th, fell in their hands. No wonder that during this time of terror, they composed a song in heartbreak tones in this song. I Stand and Wring My Hands and Cry by Edward Mayer, one of the 12 men condemned. I used to have some lemon friends to walk and talk with me, but now I'm in trouble, they had turned their back on me. They laugh me to scorn and will not come nigh. I just stand wringing my hands and cry. Chorus. I just stand wringing my hands and cry. I just stand wringing my hands and cry. Oh Lord, sometimes I feel like I ain't got no friends at all. And I just stand wringing my hands and cry. Sometimes to be in company, again, I want to be alone, with all my enemies crushing me, confusing me in my home. Then I fold my hands and look to the sky, and I just understand and wring my hands and cry. My heart is overwhelmed with sorrow. My eyes are melted down in tears. But I have called the God of heaven, and I know he always hears. Chorus. They sang this most mournful tunes ever heard. Their wives and children were there spending Sunday with them and talking them through the bars, trying to give them encouragement. They sang and prayed together and were grateful to the warden for their kind treatment of them. They exhorted each other to be faithful to the end and expressed their innocence of wrongdoing and their readiness to die if it was God's will they should do so. I told them to pray to live, and they have do so. I told them to pray to live where they have faith to believe in God, who will open the prison doors as those for Paul and Silas, and pray they will believe they will go free, and that he will work on their hearts of those who have scaled the justice to believe those prayers will be answered. Thousands of persons on the outside were praying. Thousands of persons on the outside were praying for them and knowing what they can do to help, and for them to have faith and to believe in the great state of Arkansas will undo the wrong that had been done to them. I said they should pray daily that God will give the authorities the wisdom to realize the wrong that has been done and the courage to right the wrong. I earnestly believe such prayers will strengthen the hands of white people of the state who want to do the right thing. Chapter 2, Their Crime. The terrible crime these men committed was to organize their members into a union for the purpose of getting market price for their cotton, to buy land of their own, and to employ a lawyer to get settlements of their accounts with the white landlords. Sidebar. Dr. Amos Wilson, the late great honorable Dr. Amos Wilson, always tell us when economic times or when blacks start getting economics, that's when you start seeing a lot of killing and a lot of stuff going on. When the price of cotton when it dropped it, and it wasn't worth nothing, you see them just knocking off black people. When black people start having land, on the Reconstruction era and other areas like this, such as this, they would always jump on the black business owner. Ida B. Wells talks about that. She's very, very, many people sleep on Ida B. Wells' work, but when it comes down to economics, she tell you what they do. The white man money or the oppressor's money, is really his God, in this capitalist society. All right, let's keep going. Cotton was selling more than ever before their lives. These niggas believed their chance had come to make some money for themselves and get from under the thumb of the white landlord's thumb. Phillips County's got plenty of Negroes to labor to till the land, and they toil with the will to raise the cotton crop of 1919, which would make them independent at last. Most of these men and their families had worked for years on shares and had come out every year in debt or just barely out. The price of the cotton had been low, and the landlord who furnished the land and supplies saw it that Negro labor remain in his clutches from year to year. Always the owner or the agent who rents the land and owns the general store or opens account for the tenant where he must trade and pay prices charged or gets no food and supplies for himself, family, or hired hands. The season begins in March and it lasts to the cotton pick in June and October and November. So for the period of 9 months, the cropper is dependent on the landlord for supplies. He receives no money until his cotton is sold and settlements are made. When cotton is ready to be marketed, the landlord suddenly tells the cropper what his bill for the year is and what he will allow for him for his crop. As a rule, the bill for supply is almost always greater than the amount due to the hardworking Negro and his family. He had not yet been able to help himself. He must stay on the farm for another year or to be turned adrift to go work on another farm under the same conditions. If he leaves the debt, the law of the state will make it a penal offense. Thousands of Negro farmers have worked under this economic slavery for years. The colored man who went to war for this democracy returned home determined to emancipate themselves from the slavery which took all a man and a family could earn, left him in debt, and gave him no freedom of action, no protection of his life or property, no education for his children, but did give him Jim Crow cars, lynching, and disenfranchisement. If they can get all the farmers in the neighborhood to join an organization, they can employ a lawyer to look after the settlements at the end of the year, and they can create a treasury and buy a tract of land for themselves. They can get all the farmers to hold their cotton for higher prices. Is it any wonder that the idea spread like wildfire? The Progressive Farmers and Household Union of America had been revived the year before when Robert L. Hill came among them with a plan of the meeting were crowded with men and women bringing their money to join. There was not a word in the constitutional bylaws of this order about a conspiracy to murder white people, as it is seen by the reader of this book. It is most interesting to note that this union was first organized under the Act of Congress in 1865. 55 years ago was revised and organized in 1897 and revised and applied by Robert Hill and others in 1918. It was ratified and incorporated under the orders of the Supreme Court of Arkansas in 1918 at Little Rock, Arkansas. The men who are awaiting the verdict of the Supreme Court in a sentence of the electrocution were working under the charter permitted to them by the organization granted by the same Supreme Court. Robert Hill had organized this constitution in a lodge at a Hooper Square in Elaine, Arkansas. The white farmers, landowners, and cotton brokers heard about these meetings and followed a circular which was sent out by the union naturally and became uneasy and decided to take some action. Robert Spur had organized under the Constitution. Don't get excited. Hold your cotton until the World Cotton Conference is over until October 13th, 14th, and 15th. Let us see what Uncle Sam means. Uncle Sam can help you when nobody else can. The World's Cotton Conference. There will be more than 1,800 delegates to the World's Cotton Conference in New Orleans, October 13th to the 16th. But not only will there be delegates from all parts of the South, but all parts of the world. Hundreds of delegates from 20 countries abroad are now on their way. There was a time that the generous begged the farmers to haul the cotton seed away and get them out of their way, but today cotton seed industry has reached over $4 billion. $4 billion. And this will enter largely into the conference showing the growing seeds for the cotton seed products. For foreign delegation, it is agreed that landing on American soil, it be made in New York, and then trains were made up to convey them to New Orleans from New York City. That was all, but it was a declaration of economic independence and the first united blow for the economic liberty struck by the Negroes of the South. That was their crime, and that had to be avenged. So sidebar. So with this meeting coming down in New Orleans, and at the same time, Black people getting economically together to buy tracks and got lawyers to watch the stuff. But you should have lawyers, if you got the money, have somebody, a notary or somebody like that, watch the contracts and sign and things of that nature. And they were starting to get the ups on the white farmers down there growing the seeds and stuff like that. They had basically just cut out the middleman. So the white farmers down there got mad about that. The white landlord farmers got mad about that. But why was this movement a crime? Because cotton is king in the agricultural products of the South. With cotton selling for 45 to 50 cents per pound, the highest price since the Civil War, it meant that Negroes were on a fair way to become independent. But it was not in the interest of the white landowners to let them do so. Ed Ware, one of the most prosperous men there, had already offered 2 bales of cotton for sale. Ware was the secretary of the Hooper Lodge, and he had already refused to sell 24 cents per pound, or 33 cents. He was then refused a settlement on his account at the store. He had gone to Heller to give a lawyer his case. On his way home, rumors were flying that white people were going to lynch him for doing this. This was Saturday, 3 days before the riot. The United States is the greatest cotton producing country in the world. 17 million bales of cotton is produced in 1919. In the whole world, 11 million bales come from the United States. With the expectations of the little grown in California, these 12 million bales, more than 2/3 of all cotton raised in the world, were produced by the Negro labor of the South. Without the Negro, there would be no cotton. The South wants the Negro to produce this cotton, but not sharing the benefits. With cotton selling at 45 to 50 cents a pound, a bale of cotton averaged 500 pounds will bring about $250. 5 bales of cotton will bring about $1,250. No padding of accounts nor inflation of prices could use all the money for supplies and leave the Negro in debt and segregation. Another way must be found to do this, to keep the Negro's wealth from him. And we're going to stop right there before we go into the riot. So, listen into part 2. Now, the reason why, let's go to a brief summary and brief recap by the Queen Ida B. Wells. The reason why this stuff was happening because the Negro farmer in Arkansas knew they was getting paid, that they was getting shortchanged and stuff like that. So the black people of that Elaine, Arkansas came together, combined their money together, got a lawyer, you know what I'm saying? You know, got a lawyer, put aside money using the Zuzu economics, you know, that sometimes skip us, and put their money together so they could buy land, they can own their own land and grow their own cotton. And they can jump into the cotton market, which was the biggest in the United States, which is, or at that time, the biggest in the world. So once they became and done this and got a charter that was through the United States, through the Supreme Court of Arkansas, and as you've seen through from the Civil War, this charter was always put up and stuff like that. They had their means of organization. So once that became about, they could not take it. The white landlords could not take it because basically they're getting cut out. And the Negro himself was going down to New Orleans to pitch his own cotton at 45 to 50 cents per pound. So once again, they could not take that. You know what I'm saying? So that would leave them broke. So they had to snap off and start doing what they had to do, which is the killing and starting off setting up the riot. As we will see, you know, get into it. So, you know, this once again is a Coast Gift Fun Day. It's fitness history for you and for yours. You know, showing a lot of love. And we're gonna get into the Union League too, the union rights thing we talked about. Because that lady we talked about and discussed too. But yeah, you know, hit the like button. We always drop it African history. We're gonna get into part 2 of this a little bit later on this week. And hope you check it out. Peace.